All right, let's do this the right way. All right, I'm going to cue it up. We're going to start it in a very professional way. Here we go. We're going to stand by. We're going to wait for the intro. And we're going to play the intro. Then we're going to start. And we're going to start it. We're going to do it. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about, very fun things. It's going to be awful. I'm not in a really good mood today. Just trying to find something fun or, cool to talk about, but it's just really today's got me down. So let's be down together and figure out what's going on in the country. Here we go. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to News Shows for Those. If you're just joining me for the first time or you're coming back, please subscribe. I've got 3 subscribers, trying to build it up. Gonna put out some more shorts if I get a good live stream, and yeah, we're gonna get it going. So, welcome. Like I was saying, not that much good news going on in the country right now. It's very disheartening, very down in the dumps. Just checking in with the stock market. Why don't we do that first? We have erased most of the gains of the last day or two. We're down almost 400 points, about a full percent. Nasdaq's even worse. That's down almost 2%. Seems like everybody's made their quick buck the last couple days, and then reality's starting to set back in again. So yeah, today I want to talk about what's going on with this little constitutional crisis that everybody's talking about in the government right now. It's very concerning. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know too much about the legality of it, but what I've read briefly, it's not that great. And it really kind of boils down to a constitutional crisis of what happens when one branch of the government ignores another branch of the government, which seems to be happening right now, as far as this judge's order to stop deportation flights. So this happened on Saturday, I believe. The judge gave this order to stop deportations, saying in essence that what they were doing is illegal. And from what I've read, it is pretty illegal. No matter if you're a citizen or not in this country, before deportation or anything, you are given the right to due process. You need to be brought to court, put in front of a judge, and you need to be found guilty of something, or the reason for deportation or whatever needs to be approved by a judge. So what seems to be happening is that the Trump administration has found this obscure law, the Alien Enemies Act. Look at this shiny, happy face and shiny bald head. Says the Trump administration says it ignored a Saturday court order to turn around 2 plane loads of alleged Venezuelan gang members because the flights were over international waters, and therefore the ruling didn't apply. The administration's decision, to defy a federal judge's order is exceedingly rare and highly controversial. So the White House has welcomed the fight This is headed to the Supreme Court, and we're going to win. Uh, so what they're doing is the Trump's advisors contend that U.S. District Judge James Boasberg overstepped his authority by issuing an order that blocked the president from deporting about 250 alleged Tren de Aragua gang members under the Alien Enemies Act of 1789. The wartime law gives the executive extreme, immense power to deport non-citizens without a judicial hearing, but it has been little used, particularly in peacetime. Now, I read this. You can go and look it up for yourself. Here's the obscure law. Approved July 6th, 1798. This appears that it was in response to the French and Indian War, because it mentions France by name. Any French citizen should forfeit his, his belongings and stuff, and then be deported. But getting through all the jargon here, it says that the president can declare, shall be, and is hereby and the President of the United States shall be and is hereby authorized in any event as aforesaid by his proclamation thereof or other public act to direct the conduct to be observed on part of the United States towards the aliens who shall become liable as aforesaid, the manner and degree of the restraint to which they shall be subject, and in what cases and upon what security their residence shall be permitted, and provide the removal of those who, not being permitted to reside within the United States, shall refuse or neglect to depart therefrom, and establish any other regulations which shall be found necessary in the premise and for the public safety. So it's very, old-timey language. And I guess it gives, it does seem like it gives the president broad power to remove these aliens, become ineligible as enemies in the manner aforesaid, and who shall not be chargeable with actual hostility or other crime against public safety shall be allowed for the recovery, disposal, removal of their goods and efforts, and for their departure the full time which is or shall be stipulated by any treaty where any shall have been between the United States and her settled government, and where no such treaty shall have existed. The President of the United States may ascertain and declare such a reasonable time as may be consistent with the public safety and according to the dictates of humanity and national hospitality. So nothing in this first part really, to me, says anything, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but really doesn't say anything to me about the president actually removing. Section 2 says the president of the United States shall and may establish in the premises to cause such alien or aliens to be duly apprehended and convened before such court, judge, or justice, and after a full examination and hearing on such complaint, and sufficient cause therefore appearing, shall and may order such alien or aliens to be removed of the territory of the United States, or to give sureties of their good behavior. So, I read that part seems more straightforward, that the president can establish cause for these aliens to be duly apprehended and convened before a court, judge, or justice. And after a full examination and hearing, then they can be deported. Okay, but reading all of that, I don't read any part of it that says that the president has full authority. This is all reading this is, the news articles make it read like he has broad jurisdiction to deport, gives the extreme immense power to deport non-citizens without a judicial hearing. But it does. But am I reading that wrong? I mean, it seems like the law says that you need a judicial hearing. It'd be nice if somebody could clarify that for me. It's the showdown that was always going to happen between the two branches of government, a senior White House official said. And it seemed that this was pretty clean. You have Venezuelan gang members. These are bad guys, as the president would say. But it also says it needs to be against a foreign government. Like, you need to be at war. Let's go back, right? You need to be whenever there shall be declared a war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, or any invasion or predatory incursion shall be perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government, right? This is a foreign nation or a government. This is apparently a gang, a group of gang members, who they've just said these people are gang members. I don't believe they've provided any evidence to the matter other than the fact that they think they're Venezuelan citizens. The law also says that it's only men over the age of 14. So they can't do this to women right here. Being males of the age of 14 years and upwards who shall be within the United States and not actually naturalized shall be liable to be apprehended, restrained, secured, and removed as alien enemies. So, I mean, I guess that's the section that they're saying you can do that. So, if not chargeable with crimes against the public safety, time shall be allowed for their departure. All courts of criminal jurisdiction, also judges in the United States, may receive and hear complaints against alien agencies and make an order therein. So I guess in lieu of the president making this proclamation, states and territories can do so instead. So maybe that's how it should be read. So only men over 14. This is very obscure, and it's, this was done after the French and Indian War. So it's a very old, almost, 230 years old law. It's, so let's bring it all back. So they enacted this order. He signed an executive order invoking the Alien Enemies Act on Friday, but intentionally did not advertise it. On Saturday morning, word of the order leaked, officials said, prompting a mad scramble to get planes in the air. At 2:31 p.m. Saturday, an immigration activist who tracks deportation flights posted on X that two highly unusual ICE flights were departing from Texas to El Salvador, which had agreed to accept Venezuelan gang members. Hours later, during a court hearing filed by the ACLU, Boasberg ordered a halt to the deportations and said any flights should be turned around mid-air. This is something that you need to make sure is complied with immediately, he told the Justice Department. At that point, at 6:51 p.m., both flights were off the Yucatan Peninsula. So they're arguing, since it's international waters, the people on those planes don't have to abide by the law and rulings of judges. It's like, to me, it's getting out of control. I mean, where do you draw the line here? what happens when you don't obey a judge? And this is the constitutional crisis. Um, yeah, this is the constitutional crisis that's happening right now. Is that we've taken the executive branch to court. We have found that what they're doing is illegal by a judge, and ordered planes to be returned for the action to be undone. And the Trump administration, the executive branch, has refused to go along with a court order. If I did that in like a divorce hearing or divorce trial, if I refused the judge's direction, or if I, in a criminal case, if I refused to be arrested, I would be arrested. If I refused to pay a fine, I could be fined. I could be found in contempt of court. If I refuse an order to show up for jury duty, I could be found in contempt of court, and taken to court, and potentially arrested and jailed. So this is, this just shows the fragility of our system when official branches of the government refuse to accept or acknowledge orders from another branch. The system of checks and balances is starting to break down, and and a couple hours ago, in response to the judge, without naming him, Trump wrote on social media that the judge is a radical left lunatic, as well as a troublemaker and agitator. He wrote that he, like many of the crooked judges I'm forced to appear before, should be impeached. So basically, because I don't like the ruling, this person should be impeached for the judge following the rule of law. These people were not given due process. It's an obscure law. It was rushed through. We aren't at war with any nation. So, like, the first line of this law, whenever there shall be a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, there is no war. We are not currently at war with anybody. So they've deported these immigrants here, even if they're here legally or illegally. They are required to have due process. They are required to meet with a judge, and their fate's decided by a judge. So these are apparently 250 alleged Tren de Aragua gang members. All right, so what's this? Tren de Aragua. And it's an El Salvador gang. Okay. U.S. paid El Salvador to take Venezuelan Tren de Aragua members. Pennies on the dollar. So Salvador, so they're being shipped and imprisoned in Salvador. So they're not even being deported back to their country. It's like, I don't understand. It's just very gray. It's very, this is the MO of this administration. Just act. We'll take you to, they'll take us to court, but it doesn't matter. We'll just keep doing it until, like, when do they, how do they stop? If they're just going to ignore and make excuses for these rulings, how is it going to stop? Like, this is the breakdown. This is the breakdown of our system here. And it's happening. It's happening in real time. It's breaking down, right? The system is breaking down. And this is the constitutional crisis. is the system is breaking down. Uh, you know, refusing to go along with another branch's orders or check or balance or whatever. Um, it's concerning. It's another concerning action taken by this government, by Trump and his administration. Um, let's see. And then another concerning move here is the FBI is moving to criminally charge major climate groups, calling them riddled with fraud. The FBI is moving to criminalize groups like Habitat Humanity for receiving grants from the Environmental Protection Agency under the Biden administration. The FBI has told Citibank that recipients of the EPA climate grants are being considered as potentially liable for fraud. That is, the Trump administration wants to criminalize work on climate science and impacts. Again, without evidence, there is no evidence being brought to judges in these cases. It's the only reading this, the only evidence, it's not in this news article. Let me see. The only evidence there is, let me see, this is the, okay. So, the only evidence that, the only evidence that the FBI and the EPA is bringing to this is that, let's see. Give me a second. Let's go to, this is the Citibank court document. It's against Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. What is the name of the organization? Give me a second. The name of the organization is Treasury Department, Department of Treasury, Climate United. That's the name of the group. So Climate United. Nope. Well, this is the website, but I want news articles. Let's see. It's right here. Here you go. EPA offers no new evidence in battle over $20 billion in climate grants. So this is under the Economic Recovery Act that Biden passed in his time in office. Well, actually, the legislator. It was his law. It got passed by Congress, and it gave over $20 billion in climate grants to those who applied for it. And I remember reading plenty of articles that said it was stimulating the economy. There were tons of green projects being started, solar projects, wind projects, just a lot of good projects going on in the country that helped, that not only employ people, but also helped reduce our carbon footprint in this country and really tried to turn the country in a more environmentally conscious direction. So now the EPA, run now by Lee Zeldin, has linked the funding to a hidden camera video released last year by Project Veritas, a conservative group known for using covert recordings to embarrass its political opponents. Now, this is a group that doctors hidden videos and edits them in a way that really embellishes what's going on and what these people are saying. So this is the only evidence that the EPA has brought in this case. So last week, a federal judge ordered the EPA to justify its moves to freeze the funds and cancel the program. The motion stemmed from a lawsuit brought by Climate United, a nonprofit group that was supposed to receive $7 billion under the initiative. But in response to the judge's order on Monday, the EPA did not present new direct evidence. Instead, it referred to unidentified media reports as well as a video released last year by Project Veritas, a conservative group known for using covert recordings to embarrass political opponents. The video, filmed in a social setting, showed an EPA staff member at the time talking about the outgoing Biden administration's efforts to quickly spend federal money. He compared it to throwing gold bars off the Titanic. A lawyer for the former staff member has since said that he was not referring to the $20 billion grant program. But Lee Zeldin has seized on the video and has repeatedly suggested that the grants were vulnerable to fraud. And it's, anything's vulnerable to fraud, but you have to prove it, right? That's what this, again. This is what, you file a motion in the judicial system, and it's your burden to prove. You have to prove that this is what's going on. If you're accusing somebody of fraud, you have to prove it, right? And if you can't prove it, then it shouldn't matter. It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening in this country. It's like everything. It's like social norms are breaking down. It's the traditional rule of law is being challenged and questioned, and it's like this. It's like there's a manifest that the Trump administration is acting on, and they feel empowered to kind of do whatever they want, and when it's questioned in court, they kind of shoo it off. And this is the constitutional crisis that's unfolding in this nation. And what do you do? Like, seriously, what are you supposed to do as a citizen, as somebody just watching this? You see how fragile the system is. It's been, for centuries, there's existed this trust between the different forms of government and this kind of unwritten agreement. I mean, it's in the Constitution, but the Constitution only works if everybody is abiding by it, right? Everybody needs to abide by it. Everybody needs to, and if the executive branch isn't doing that, what happens next? Like, what's gonna happen? I mean, this is the second month of this administration, and we're ignoring court orders. We're making frivolous statements. We're making frivolous statements and not backing up in court too. It's like, where was I just? Vulnerable to fraud. At the request of the Trump administration, the $20 billion allocated to 8 nonprofit groups have been frozen in accounts held at Citibank. The situation escalated earlier this month when Climate United sued the EPA and Citibank in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, demanding the release of the funds. The money was intended to help financial institutions offer low interest loans to businesses and developers for various climate initiatives like building solar arrays and insulating homes to make them more energy efficient. It's, these are, you know, low interest loans to businesses and developers for various climate initiatives. This is probably benefits small businesses. I'm sure a lot of these loans have been approved or in the process of being approved, and now the money's frozen. So what do you do? What do these people do? They're in the middle of this project, and all of a sudden their money goes away. It's insane that this is happening. It's insane that this is allowed to happen. And what do? Who's going to stop it? How does the government stop itself? The judicial branch has no enforcement power. The enforcement is on the executive branch, right? I mean, that's who enforces the laws. So when the enforcer of the law breaks the law and the judicial branch tells them that they're breaking the law, this is the flaw, right? This is the flaw in the system, because the executive branch apparently can just say, well, fuck off. I think I'm right, and I'm going to do what I think is right. So fuck off, right? That's basically what's happening right now. And this is a flaw. And if we ever get through this is going to need to be addressed. And I don't know how, it's like, what do? Who enforces the executive branch? Who has their eyes on the executive branch? The legislative branch, but where are the checks and balances? How does that work? Because, ultimately, the enforcer is being asked to enforce themselves, right? I mean, let's see, checks on the executive branch. Let's go with AI answer, right? The U.S. system of checks and balances designed to prevent any one branch, here, maybe you can't see, designed to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful includes several mechanisms to limit the power of the executive branch, such as legislative oversight, judicial review, and the ability of Congress to impeach and remove the president. So, these are actions that can be taken. Okay? So ultimately, we can impeach and remove the president. That ain't happening anytime soon. We all know that. Legislative oversight. It seems like we are dismantling the oversight within the legislative branch, and judicial review. We're seeing that being ignored. So it seems like the only what we have is impeachment and removal. Trump owns the legislative branch right now. I mean, it's apparent. So the legislative branch isn't going to do jack shit unless by some miracle we take it back. And I don't even know when that would be, but we definitely won't have the numbers to impeach and remove. Override presidential vetoes. Congress can override a veto with a 2/3 vote. That ain't happening. Power of the purse. Congress controls the federal budget, meaning it has the power to fund or defund executive branch agencies and programs. This is concerning because I read this and I immediately think, well, what's going on right now? It seems like the executive branch and Doge, an unelected billionaire, has more power to fund or defund agencies and programs. And the FBI. Confirmation of appointments, right? That's going to take too long. Declaration of war. Only Congress has the power to declare war. limiting the president's ability to engage in military action without, okay, we're not talking about war yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if the president just decides to, and that's a gray area too, because we're bombing Yemen, we're providing arms to Israel. Advice and consent. The Senate must provide advice and consent on treaties negotiated. Okay. Legislative oversight. Congress can conduct investigations and hearings to oversee the actions of the executive branch and hold its members accountable. But how do you hold the members accountable? Every investigation and oversight committee just seems to be more for the press and sound bites than, nothing really comes out of it. Nothing happens other than, oh, that was really wrong. And yeah, that was really, really wrong. And let's not do that again. But nothing concrete. And then judicial branch checks. Judicial review. The Supreme Court can review executive actions and declare them unconstitutional, limiting the power of the president. And again, they have the Supreme Court. They have the Supreme Court by 6-3 majority. So none of this is happening anytime soon. This is the danger of the climate in this country right now. We've stacked the courts. We have control of the legislative branch, and there's nothing. There's really not a lot to stop these people. There's really not a lot to stop the Trump administration from doing whatever they want, and that's what they're doing. They're doing whatever they want. They have a billionaire overseeing government spending. We've stacked the courts. We've stacked the courts through lies. Promising not to appoint judges when we do, refusing to appoint judges even though Obama had the right to. It's been a slow burn, and we've all seen it happening. I think all sound mind, all of us with a sound mind and who really have put a lot of thought and have paid attention to what's going on in the country right now. We've seen it happen. We've seen it. We've been warned every step of the way. We've voiced our disapproval in actions in Congress and by the previous Trump administration. We've been warned by the media. We've been warning each other, and this is happening. So here we go. I guess this is a check on the Trump, right? Chief Justice rebukes Trump over judge impeachment remark. Okay. Chief Justice Roberts rebuked President Trump in a rare public statement after the president called for a judge's impeachment on Monday. Impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision, Justice Roberts wrote, hours after Mr. Trump called the judge a radical left lunatic in a social media post and said he should be removed from the bench. The judge, Jamie Boasberg, had ordered the administration to provide more information by noon as he investigates whether the White House violated his order in sending more than 200 migrants to El Salvador. But I mean, is that really a check or balance? This is those who dissent, those who disagree with this administration. There's no balls. There's no action. There is just a light criticism and a no. I don't like what you're saying. But where is the action? There is no action. There is no action. These actions by Trump require an equal and opposite reaction. And we missed an opportunity last week. Thanks a lot to Chuck Schumer and the old fogies in the Senate. We missed an opportunity to meet action with an equal and opposite reaction by shutting down the government, which entails risk, yes, but to me, it's a risk it's an equal risk. You know, by passing the continued resolution, the risk is, well, there is no risk because they've laid it all out in writing what they're going to do. So there is no risk. You know exactly what's going to happen with the money. You know exactly how it's going to be spent. You know exactly how they're going to use that power to either fund agencies or defund agencies. The risk, of course, would be shutting down the government. And the risk in shutting down the government is that you give Trump equal power to choose to fund the government how he so deems. My argument is, so what? So what? Inaction at this point is what got us here. Action is what's going to get us out. Taking action and shutting down the government and, you know, blaming Republicans for doing that is a risk that needs to be taken. Because number one, you're not polling too well right now anyway. So what do you gain? What do you stand to lose? I think 27% of the country approves of the Democrats right now, and it's hovering around 50% of Democrats approve of the of Democrats right now. So it's very, what do you have to lose? Everybody hates you anyway. So what do you have to lose by taking a chance and, showing the public what Trump is trying to accomplish? And then if he does that, your hands are washed. You don't bear the responsibility of it because it's his actions. And when people find those actions unpopular, your hands are clean because you saw this coming and you decided not to support it. I mean, that to me was like a slam dunk and something that needed to happen. But instead, we were worried and we were concerned about how we would look or what would happen. It could have been much worse. It can't. To me, it can't get much worse. You need to action. We're starting to take to the streets. We the public are taking to the streets. We're starting to protest. We're starting to take action. But the legislative branch, those in opposition in the legislative branch are not taking action. Those in the judicial branch, we just get a rebuke. We get we get a no. I don't think that's right. You shouldn't do that, and a tisk. But there needs to be action. He needs to be censured. I mean, I don't know what you can do as a judge, as the Supreme Court. I mean, and no matter what, there's not going to be enough support on the Supreme Court to make something happen, in my opinion. So it's not so. It's not so out there. And nobody's taking action. The only people that seem to be taking action are the people that are going to the town halls, the people that are protesting in the streets, the people that are upset that they, it seems to me more, I don't know what the polling numbers have been showing, but it seems to me that even Trump supporters are starting to become upset at the actions here. I mean, time will tell, to me, the more time you let go by, the more time that Trump is allowed to do this, the further and further away from a democratic system of checks and balances we're going to get. There just seems to be this, through actions and also through statements too. Trump officials are basically saying we don't need to listen. So it's very concerning. So let's see. Trump. I want to find some video here. Trump official And Trump official, what do I want to say here? Sometimes I have trouble uh, Googling what I want to Google. But I want to find a Trump official's statement on, and Judge, what's his name? Judge, oh my gosh. Judge, uh, ba, 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 um, Boasberg. Um, Boasberg. All right, so let's see if we can find some video. Um, let's see. Um, mm, 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 mm. I know I saw some. Well, maybe I can find it later and post it later. Um, so yeah, so it's very um let's see. For more than 2 centuries, Boasberg, judge presiding Trump. Uh, what is he talking about? Trump and his Truth Social post raged the radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote by, oh my God, this is just the fragility of this man. He didn't win the popular vote by a lot. He didn't win all 7 swing states. Oh my God, he didn't win anything. We don't want a vicious, violent, and demented movement. Oh my God. So at a hearing earlier Monday, I mean, this is crazy. A top DOJ lawyer refused to answer Boasberg's questions about the deportation, citing national security concerns. The judge has given the DOJ until Tuesday afternoon to respond to questions about its actions, including whether any deportation flight departed the U.S. on Saturday night after he issued his order. Critics of Trump's deportation have questioned how his administration determined who is a member of the gang. Right, like it's crazy. In a declaration filed Monday with the court, the acting field office director of enforcement and removal operations in the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement wrote, agency personnel carefully vetted each individual alien to ensure they were in fact members of TDA. It was critical to remove TDA members subject to the deportation proclamation quickly, keeping them in ICE custody where they could potentially continue to recruit, pose grave risk, holding hundreds of members of a designated foreign terrorist organization where there is immediate mechanism to remove them would be irresponsible. It's just, I don't know. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's a bunch of bullshit. And very concerning. So this is the constitutional crisis right now. It seems a little, it's happening, right? We've been warned that this might happen, and now it's starting to happen, and we're testing waters here. I feel like we're testing the waters, to see what we can get away with. And further on down the road, this is 2 months, right? So further on down the road, what are we gonna, how are we gonna apply this? Let's see how the stocks are doing. Further on down the road, like, how, are we gonna use these same laws and these same tactics against protesters, people protesting against Israel, who in recent weeks, the Trump administration has deemed protesting in favor of a terrorist organization, Hamas. That was the reason for arresting Khalil, and that's why they want to deport him. Um, and are we gonna, when students continue to take to the streets to protest Israel, to protest Tesla, are we going to label them terrorists? And when we do, if we do, what do we, how are we going to fight back against that? Like they're testing the waters to see how much they can get away with, and they are getting away with a lot. And I can almost guarantee you that in 6 months to a year, as people really get upset, you're going to find this administration cracking down on protesters, labeling them terrorists, and starting to arrest them and hold them without charge, because that's what they're doing right now to foreigners. Foreigners who are here legally, who have a green card, who have a right to live here in this country, like forever, to live and work in this country because they've obtained a green card. And most green card holders are working towards a path to citizenship. So we're doing that to people who are here legally, not just here legally temporarily, but here legally for as long as they obey the laws of the United States. And the next move, to me, would be to start applying that to student protesters or any protesters. So I would not be surprised if in the next 6 to 12 months you see a crackdown on our own citizens. So let's watch out for that, shall we? And then we can, let's further depress ourselves and watch this video. Israel has resumed attacks on Palestine. Let me see. Hundreds killed. 400, I've read. 400 killed. So that happened a day ago, and I believe it's still continuing to happen. We could go to the New York Times for more information on that. So the assaults targeting Hamas killed more than 400 people, local officials said, and were the first major strikes in Gaza since both sides agreed to a truce in January. The latest developments. Israel forces launched intense aerial attacks across the Gaza Strip on Tuesday, killing more than 400 people, according to Gazan officials, breaking a temporary ceasefire with Hamas and raising the prospect of a return to all-out war. The office of Benjamin Netanyahu said he had ordered the military operation following repeated refusal by Hamas to release hostages remaining in Gaza. From now on, Israel will act against Hamas with increasing military strength. Launched a series of preemptive strikes. These strikes targeted Hamas military commanders, officials, and terrorist infrastructure. The attacks followed weeks of fruitless negotiations aimed at extending the fragile ceasefire, which paused 15 months of devastating fighting in the territory. A former U.S. ambassador to Israel said on Tuesday Hamas's insistence on holding on to hostages as leverage and Netanyahu's politically driven refusal to proceed with Phase 2 of the ceasefire, which called for an end to the war and release of all living hostages, led to this escalation. The Israeli military announced just before 2:30 a.m. local time that it was conducting extensive strikes on Hamas targets. Hundreds of Palestinians, including children, were killed, according to the Gazan Health Ministry, whose figures do not differentiate between civilians and combatants. So, okay, so I'm imagining that I believe that this the announcement just before 2:30 a.m. was their announcement to get civilians out of the bombing area. Ooh. So at 2:30 a.m., you warn civilians that they're going to be bombed and then bomb them in a country with probably no internet, no electricity, no running water. At 2:30 a.m., while they all sleep, you warn them to get out of the strike zone. And you bomb civilians while they sleep. Hamas accused Israel of deciding to overturn the ceasefire agreement, exposing the prisoners in Gaza to an unknown fate, referring to the hostages. I mean, this makes a lot of sense to me. Like, how do you get hostages back if you blanket bomb where they're being held? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think Hamas has a fair point here. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said Israel had consulted the White House before launching the strikes. The United States recently began a wave of attacks in Yemen against the Houthi military group, which, like Hamas, is backed by Iran. The Houthis had fired missiles and drones at Israel for more than a year in solidarity with Hamas. Have they been doing that recently? I don't think so. As President Trump has made clear, Hamas, the Houthis, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel but also the United States of America will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose. Fantastic. Before the Israeli assault, Israel and Hamas had been negotiating the next steps in the truce. The next phase was supposed to free more hostages taken during the Hamas-led attack on October 7th, 2023. Mediators had hoped the talks would lead to an end to the conflict, but Israeli leaders said they were unwilling to stop the fighting until the end of Hamas's rule in the territory. Okay, so we're in the middle of negotiations. Hamas didn't want to give up rule, but they were going to release the hostages. So in order to get the hostages back, we stopped negotiating and blanket bomb the area where the hostages are being held. Seems like a sound reasoning here. Fewer than half of the 59 hostages remaining in Gaza are thought to be alive. After 2 months of relative quiet, the strikes have left Gazans with an unmistakable message: the war had returned. The Israeli military ordered Palestinians living in parts of Gaza close to the border with Israel to leave their homes, labeling the areas as dangerous combat zones. This month, Israel stopped allowing humanitarian aid into Gaza, another effort to pressure Hamas at the negotiation table. It just seems fucking backwards to me. Like, it just seems like you just want to kill these people. It just seems like your desire to kill people. I mean, look at that. That's got to be like a little kid, right? It's got to be a little kid or a piece of an adult. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable that this is what we're doing here. I mean, and to me, this is like the best recruiting tactic to recruit more terrorists. I mean, look at this kid. Look at this kid right here. See this kid? This is probably his dad, his mom, his whole family. And, when he gets a couple years older and he's got nobody left in his family and a terrorist group comes knocking at his door, what's he going to do? If you got nothing left to lose and somebody offers a chance to exact revenge on the people who killed your whole family, would you not take it? I mean, not everybody would, but you're creating this situation where it's just going to create more terror to me. I mean, it just seems so counterintuitive to the goals of the United States and the goals of Israel. I don't know how this is a solution to, number one, get your hostages back, and number two, stop a terror campaign against your country. I'd be watching my back in the United States the next 10 or 15 years. Because these people, when they see, all the bombs stamped with United States, manufactured in the United States, I'd be watching my back. I think we should all be watching our back the next 15 to 20 years. Because this is not going to be good for us either. It's creating a whole new generation of terrorists, in my opinion. I don't understand. I don't understand how this is a means to a peaceful end. Look at this. Look at this. What if this was New York City? What if this was New York City and Canada bombed New York City? And my whole family has been killed by Canadian bombs, and I got nothing left. Part of me is going to want to say, fuck it. Fuck those people. I'm going over there, and I'm going to cause some shit. I mean, it's just, this is not good. How anybody can look at this and say, this is going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. This is not good. This is not good, people. Oy, oy, oy. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This is our fate, and we're just living in it. There's little we can do to stop it. And what the people in a position to stop what's going on, just roll over and don't do anything about it. You just feel kind of helpless here. I don't know what else you can do. So yeah, pretty depressing. So let's check in with the stock market, and then what I want to do before I go is I want to talk a little bit about Monarch butterflies. I want to end on a somewhat positive note, but still, still a little depressing because monarchs are endangered. But we could talk about what you can do, and we'll educate ourselves a little bit about it. Stock's still down. Fantastic. All right, so let's take a look at monarchs. It's gonna be monarch season soon. I love these butterflies. Let's if I close this tab, we'll get a little more internet here. The monarch butterfly is a migratory butterfly that winters in Mexico and makes its way up the United States over the summer and then flies back to Mexico for the winter. I believe they've just started their northern migration. I don't know where everybody lives, but oh, come on now. Come on, meow. Let's try this again. I don't know why this is not loading. It's probably not loading because everybody wants to know about monarch butterflies. That's my guess. Which is it's great. Everybody wants to know. Maybe, nope. I don't know why it's not loading. All right. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So cool. Very cool. So I believe this is the forest in Mexico where they all winter. And I believe, I don't know if this is from this year, but this is when the seasons change and it starts to warm up. And if you could see too, like all this tree here on the left all the way down, these little like orangey fluffy parts, those are all monarch butterflies. They kind of like hibernate a little bit. They slow their metabolism and they winter in Mexico and then start to make their way up north um, in the spring and summer. So this is a great website. This is a comprehensive map representing both the fall and spring migrations, both east and west of the Rocky Mountains. To the extent possible, the map is based on data. Nevertheless, our knowledge of the distribution and abundance of monarchs in some seasons is lacking for certain areas of the country. In these cases, our interpretations are based on what monarchs are doing in the surrounding areas. You can read more about our two-way monarch migration map via our blog. A poster version of this monarch migration map is also available via the Monarch Watch Shop. So here's the map here. So in the winter, they winter down in this forest. Actually, two areas. It depends. There's the Rocky Mountains, kind of act as a barrier, and most of the monarchs to the west of the Rocky Mountains winter along the coast of California, and then they migrate north and east into the mountains during the summer. But the majority of monarchs, they winter down in this forest in Mexico. I believe the forest is called I forget the name of the forest, but it's in the mountains of Mexico. So they kind of hibernate. They're not fully shut down, but they just kind of really slow their metabolism and wait for the warmer weather to come back. And when it does, they start flying north. So in the spring, they start flying north and they get around the Rust Belt, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, the southern United States, and they breed, make eggs, and then that generation dies off, and then the next generation, they eat milkweed. They solely their primary source of food is milkweed, which is I believe making a comeback, but as a weed in the middle of the 20th century, a lot of the milkweed population had been cut back because it was seen as it's a pretty invasive species, but as a result, the monarch's main source of food was taken away, so the numbers had been dwindling. I think also to pesticides and herbicides had effect on the monarch population too. So in any case, in the spring they lay eggs, they die off, and then the next generation flies even further north until they get until there's basically no more milkweed. So basically right around the Canadian border is the extent of the northern range of milkweed. So monarchs, they just keep flying north and north and north, and then in the fall, when the seasons start to change again, the last generation of monarchs who have never seen the coast of California and have never seen this forest in Mexico instinctually know to fly all the way across the country, thousands of miles sometimes, back to this winter spot in central Mexico. And it's amazing. I've watched videos about it. Me and my son have helped raise monarchs. We have some milkweed growing in our in our front lawn. And for the last 2 or 3 years, monarchs have laid eggs on them. And they've just started, the milkweeds just started to flower too. So they stop, they have a drink, they lay their eggs, they take off. And my son and I harvest the eggs, and we have one of those little netted areas, netted cages where we raise them. They pupate, they turn into monarchs, and then we let them go. In the last couple summers, we've raised and released over 20 monarchs, so it's really cool. And now, since the milkweed has been flowering, we also get milkweed seeds, and milkweed seeds are they come in these pods, and it's very fluffy seeds that float on the wind. So we kind of take them around to our local park. We've taken them down to the beach in the Rockaways, and we've set the seeds free, and we hopefully increase the milkweed population in our area, which hopefully would mean more monarchs, more food, more caterpillars. So yeah, it's quite an interesting story. And like a lot of butterflies, they've been listed as endangered. I think recently they've been taken off the endangered list, but they're always kind of floating around endangered and non-endangered. So if you see these butterflies, or if you see milkweed, please don't cut it down. Milkweed looks like this. There's different varieties, but milkweed, let's see, the flowers look like this. And the traditional milkweed plants, which have the broadest leaves, and I think the monarchs like the best. It's got the biggest leaves, so it's more source of food. Common milkweed. So it looks like this. It is pretty invasive, so if you decide to grow some in your yard, pick an area, and you just kind of have to, trim it back a little bit, contain it to the area that you want it to grow in. The flowers smell really nice. The monarchs love it. And you'll see they'll lay the eggs on the underside of the leaves. And they're really tiny, tiny eggs. Yeah, I think it's a really amazing species, and I think it's something you can do to help out an endangered population of butterfly that is on an amazing journey. I mean, it's crazy that without ever seeing Mexico, they just know where to go and fly the whole way too. It's crazy. So yeah. Oh, and then here's the seed pods. This is what the seed pods look like. It's almost like a little alien pod, and then these fluffy seeds come out, like this. Very fluffy seeds, and they go flying everywhere. So I think it's great, and I think if you have the space, and if you see some milkweed, or if you see these pods and these seeds, put some in your backyard, put some in your front yard, put some in a flower bed, bring it to the park, if it's legal to do. And you know what, even if it's illegal to do, just do it anyway, because it's good. It's good for these little butterflies. And that's basically it. So I wanted to end on a positive note. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Wanted to end on the good foot. Constitutional crisis, yes, it's happening, but the monarchs are coming north. So get ready. When you see these butterflies flying around, just know they came from Mexico and they're going back. They're free to cross the border. They're both citizens of the United States and of Mexico, and it's a beautiful thing to ignore borders and just kind of live life, enjoy life, be provided food and a place to raise your kids with nobody messing with you. we could take some notes from the Monarchs, I think. So, in conclusion, why don't we just watch these majestic creatures fly around? If it loads. Oh my god. I don't know what's up. I think Reddit's a little slow for some reason. Oh, come on. You're messing with my flow here. Let's try one more time. If we can get these Monarchs flying, I think they'll fly us out of this live stream here. Oh my god. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Monarchs. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Please. Load. Oh, man. Maybe we could find a different video. It doesn't always have to be Reddit, right? Let's see.
Don't pay anything to fix your roof. New York City homeowners can get a free roof while...
Okay, we get it. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I think this is the same video, just not cropped. Awesome. Leave this for you guys. Oh, do you guys get to see if it is in full screen? Yeah, I think you do. All right. So maybe, all right, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to practice to watch this, do this again. I'm going to artfully transition off of the live stream from this video. Have a nice little NPR moment. All right, here we go. Let's do this again. It's the flight of the monarchs. Just next time you want to hate, next time you're hating on Trump, think of monarchs. Think of the flight from Mexico. Think of the journey that they've taken, crossing the border from Mexico into the United States, and then from the United States back into Mexico. Thousands and thousands of miles. Think about that. And I'll see you next time. Next time. What? I screwed it up. Oh well. I'll get better, I promise.